Trump and Elon Musk destroyed most of the global HIV program that saved hundreds of thousands of lives in Zambia. Now the U.S. is threatening to cut remaining support. We're bad if we give a blank check, but say, well, hold on a second, it's not that, it's a blank check, pretty much, but we do have to make sure the check gets to the people. That's colonialism. And if we leave, it's abandonment. Give me any scenario in which the world's greatest charity that has ever existed, the United States, will get credit for being the good guys that they are. Look, before I get into this, the story right now, people are outraged because with some of the USAID cuts, and there are things under the umbrella of USAID, Zambia, it looks like we'll be, the story you've been told is we'll be phasing out our charity work, the American government's charity work for AIDS in Zambia. 23 years. Time's up. You guys still got AIDS? Well, you're on your own. I'm okay. I'm just going to, but that's not the real story. This has to do with China and mineral rights and mining and copper. So there is more to it. But if we just take it at face value, the left was outraged going, I can't believe that we would stop funding all of these programs that help with AIDS in Zambia. Well, here's the thing. If we ever were involved abroad, if we provide aid, with stipulations, and by the way, reasonable stipulations, like there needs to be a transparency clause. We need to be able to, conduct some examinations, walkthroughs because of corruption. Well, it's colonialism. And I'll provide all the references as we do every weekday, 11 a.m. Eastern when we stream. And then if we leave, it's abandonment. So really, it's just the America bad no matter what, even though we're the ones actually giving and kind of getting screwed. And that's where you see the left and you see the Marxist right come. It's all the America bad. America's the bad guy team. So let me just kind of start you from the top here. And what you've been told is just, hey, we're not going to fund AIDS. That's not exactly right, but though I would be okay with it. Let me just ask you this. Why is it our job? Why is it our job to stop the spread of AIDS in Africa? And how do we do it if we've been able to stop it here and we give them more money than they've ever seen in their lives and they can't? How do we do it without colonialism? How do we make their country, how do we make their shit, their approach look like ours without stipulations? The left wants a blank check and they blame us no matter what. We're damned if we do, we're damned if we don't. But let me know how we do it. Why don't they follow our lead? So the United States started pulling some foreign funding, rightfully so. Zambia became this hotbed of discussion because, they got a lot of AIDS there.
I am in Zambia, and right now I'm standing outside a clinic where usually over 2,000 people come to get their HIV medication. But right now it's been shuttered. That's a result of the U.S. ending the vast majority of foreign aid. At this clinic, the electricity has even been shut off and much of the furniture removed.
Or stolen.
The Trump administration says it's overhauling how it does foreign assistance to make it align with its America First agenda. But some public health experts say shuttering clinics like this one is a real loss. They say it's actually a great way to give health care to a lot of people without spending a lot of money.
Sure. By the way, healthcare experts say, okay, why are they an expert in what to do with your tax dollars? Do you mean they're an expert saying that, hey, if you give someone free HIV medication, they'll probably have a better outcome? Sure. That's not the discussion that we're having, by the way.
Also, if it's not for a lot of money, why can't they pay for it?
Right. That's exactly right.
You call it come to us when it's a lot of money.
Yeah. You know what else? It could be less money and more effective, but we'll get to the Live Aid concert. Do you guys realize this? Remember the big Freddie Mercury? We did a segment on this a while ago. I'm going to issue a refresher. Freddie Mercury, I believe Elton John, Live Aid, We Are the World, big conference, paid for genocide. Did you know that? Did you know that it paid for Elton John, I believe was there. Freddie Mercury paid for genocide. Why? Because we gave the money to the government who killed their own people. So it's reasonable to have some stipulations. By the way, 24 countries in Africa have already signed agreements totaling $20 billion in health aid, or as the left sees it, not enough. Keep in mind, while we were providing $100 billion total, I believe $7 billion to Zambia, the left talked about us being an evil imperialist nation. And now it's, this is a great way to spend money. Well, when we were doing it, we got no credit whatsoever. And by the way, nor did George Bush. A lot of this started in 2003. So let me give you some examples here. Let me walk you through this. So if we leave, we're bad, right? That's this scenario. Anne Applebaum, I had to have Lane the brain pull this because she's blocked me.
Aww.
She posted, Trump and Elon Musk destroyed most of the global HIV program that saved hundreds of thousands of lives in Zambia. Now the U.S. is threatening to cut remaining support. unless Zambia gives access to the country's mineral resources. We'll get into that. But before we get into that, why is it our job? The cut means we've been providing it for how long? Over 2 decades? Isn't there something about teaching a man to fish? Isn't there something about teaching a man not to sodomize unprotected? Right? It's not that complicated. It's not like this is novel and we don't know the mechanism of action. We do. It's 2026 there too. All they have to do, by the way, is give us their mineral rights to copper. We'll even send some of our best copper miners. We have some of the best stateside. You know this, yeah.
Oh yeah, they're effective. They get so much copper.
They also moonlight as catalytic converter thieves.
Hey, miners.
Right.
That's true, miners. I want to make sure the biblical argument doesn't really hold water. This falls squarely under the if a man doesn't work, he doesn't eat. Let his belly be his guide argument. It's not just about working to get food. It's about, hey, you have to take an active role in your own situation, teaching a man to fish. Well, that necessitates the man actually going out and fishing the next day to feed himself. It's not that you give people everything they need all the time forever.
Right.
It's not the Christian value.
Well, this is, again, if you're trying to make sense of it, Marxism. Why is it our job to fund the rest of the world who can never get it? Why is it our job, a very, very young nation, by the way, to fund the cradle of civilization? Like, you've had more chances at bat. Why? Why? Because we're more successful. So if you give, period.
Right.
Regardless of the level of corruption or the sinful nature of many of these governments. Not Zambia, it's largely a Christian nation, but there are plenty of other African nations, by the way, who we have propped up. And then, again, through the lens of Marxism, you're bigger, you're more successful, therefore you have to, also that means you're the oppressor. That inherently means that you are immoral and the underdog has the moral high ground. Let me give you some more examples. So we're damned if we leave, it's abandonment. If we simply give, with some stipulations to actually ensure the money goes to people who need it, that's colonialism. And if we do it the way that all nations have done it throughout history, for example, if we say, hey, we'll help you out, but we will invest, and as we invest in the infrastructure, you're going to get the lion's share, but we should get something out of it. This is a big part of Venezuela. Remember, we were the ones who actually, a lot of American oil companies, there were international court rulings to $10 billion, I believe, total. I think it was Shell, maybe it was Exxon. I don't remember those involved, but you can check the references. So we spent about $10 billion to build the infrastructure. Great, you guys have this natural resources, we'll help it. And then we will purchase the oil from you at a very fair market price. We just ask that we have an open relationship. Well, Chavez nationalized the oil production, kicked out the American companies, and then their incompetent pricks couldn't maintain the infrastructure. But we were the bad guys there. So we're bad if we invest to help. We're bad if we give a blank check, but say, well, hold on a second, it's not that, it's a blank check, pretty much, but we do have to make sure the check gets to the people. That's colonialism. And if we leave, it's abandonment. Give me any scenario in which the world's greatest charity that has ever existed, the United States, will get credit for being the good guys that they are. Can you guys name me one from the left?
And by the way, it's not even that our companies just get the preference for it. It's just give us a fair shot at getting those resources.
At recouping our investments.
Exactly. It's not like you have to give them to us willy-nilly.
And here's the thing, the colonialism, a lot of you may not be aware of this. I did a deep dive into this today. They often cite Kwame Nkrumah's, I don't know how you pronounce it, 1965, it was the seminal work, Neo-colonialism. So if you look at that collage right there, I think, did you bring up collage B8? They blame us for colonialism when we provide aid, right? Because it comes with stipulations. Now, a lot of them reference this work. Let me read a quote for you. The result of neo-colonialism is that foreign capital is used for the exploitation rather than for the development of the less developed parts of the world. Investment under neo-colonialism increases rather than decreases the gap between the rich and the poor countries of the world. Well, that doesn't hold up because you're now mad that we're leaving and you're saying they're getting more aid. So maybe we didn't make everyone in Zambia or Mozambique or take the country you want to help today here. Maybe we didn't bring them to American middle class status, but we certainly cut down on the ass screwing disease.
Yeah, I would have said rectal plunging, but
that works too. It's all permissible.
Unfair.
Now, that's their claim. Here's the truth. The United States is, without a doubt, the single largest, most impactful charity in the world. The problem is it's your tax dollars. So let's look at this right here. PEPFAR, that's the HIV program. It is the single largest commitment by any nation to a single disease in history. $100 billion from the United States alone since 2003. Wow. $7 billion to Zambia alone. We have provided, you, the American worker, taxpayer, has provided 80 to 90% of all HIV funding worldwide. And that's probably a tough pill to swallow if you're not at risk. Now, if you're not sure if you're at risk or not, if you don't use intravenous drugs, street drugs with unclean needles, or have unprotected anal sex with strange men in truck stops, you're fine.
I think we should just, let natural selection take over.
Gerald said his strategy.
My new strategy is just.
I mean,
I don't know how long you have to do that for, but at this point, we really have given it a good go, right? I mean, we tried.
20-something years, time's up. Hey, you know what? Call us when you want to help us with our fentanyl problem. Zambia? Call us when you want to help us with our homeless problem.
Yeah.
How many troops have you committed to whatever?
Maybe they can house some of our homeless.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Right.
Now, I did get a bit of a fact check. In Zambia, mostly women are affected by this, most likely through rape. But the solution is still very simple. Stop a raping.
Well, that's the problem. That would be neo-colonialism because you would be implementing your moral worldview and all cultures
That's their
are
culture,
equal.
Gerald. Jeez, come on, man.
So let's be clear. Here, stateside, stop with the dirty drugs, or at least dirty needles. I mean, if you want to do some heroin, far be it from me to judge.
And dirty a-holes. Yeah, stay away from that.
But just use a clean needle. And if you're going to engage in sodomy, preferably not a stranger, preferably not a man, and use protection. I just reduced your chances in the new world, in the Western world, of contracting AIDS by like 99%. In the third world, where cultures are not entirely equal, they're inferior, we would need to implement some neo-colonialism and say, hey, you can't be raping all the women. I don't know if you know this, but AIDS with women is a problem that's unique to you because you guys think you can get rid of it through the rape. That's not true. We're not allowed to implement our morals onto these. But we also can't say maybe they keep raping the women because they have low IQ and they have never gotten anything right in that area of the world because they subjugate, oppress their own people, bar them from appropriate education. We can't do any of that. That'd be ethnocentric.
Yeah, and they look for gold in bald people's heads, Stephen. So we're working on the theories.
I like to think of it like an undo button.
Yes.
I want to give it back.
Just let natural selection take over, man. Just
leave
them to it.
For those who don't remember, too, the program was implemented under George W. Bush. Right. A third of the HIV spending was earmarked for, by the way, things like sex ed, teaching abstinence before marriage, faithfulness, public health announcements on radios, radio broadcast billboards. And what happened? Critics threw a fit. Do you guys know this? Do you guys know in 2008, those requirements were removed? George W. Bush was made out to be a Nazi. And by the way, they put a swastika on his head. You can see all of these ads back then because he said, well, we can't just throw rubbers at it. And they said, no, you can't tell them that they can't have sex. You can't teach abstinence. You can't try and apply your Christian Western worldview to the point that basic sex education, teaching abstinence, loyalty, faithfulness, not raping, something, me too. It was so outrageous that enough pressure was applied. Those requirements were removed in 2008. Let that sink in and understand that we are not all the same. Now, here's the other thing. The reason they call neo-colonialism that our aid, our incredible charitable contributions to the world sometimes come with stipulations is because these governments are corrupt and we don't want to fund the killing of people. Let's go back to Live Aid. The left still tries to act as though this was a success. They raised $140 million. Which was funneled directly into Mengitsu's pockets, used to purchase weapons from the Russians and then killed a lot of people. Freddie Mercury. So even if you have good intentions, you just give the check over to the government, guess what? The people don't get it. And so we have had stipulations where we go, we need to have some transparency, we need to have access to the books, we need to see where this money is going. The left opposes it for the same reason they oppose teaching any kind of sexual morality. Why? Here's why. Because invariably, it would prove that their worldview doesn't work.
Yeah.
If we said, we're not going to give the money directly to the government. If we went the other way, said, we're going to actually fund some private charities. We'll give them some grants to go into these countries and actually do work directly with the people. You know, some of them are Christian charities that are going to teach them monogamy, the covenant of marriage, how to not rape, how to avoid sodomy. We'd have better results, and the left would, as they always are, be proven wrong about everything. Here's another stat for you. Report found recently that half of all pharmacies in Zambia sold stolen medications that the U.S. had provided for free. So we provided the medications. We're not just talking about money.
Yeah.
Then the pharmacies mark it up. So here were our unreasonable demands for Zambia, by the way. They can still get AIDS money. That's what I call it, AIDS money.
Yeah, there you
they
go.
can still get the AIDS money as long as they commit to increasing their own, first demand, health spending, including that no funds should be used to promote or perform abortion. That's
There you go.
the equivalent to the Mexico City policy that was immediately reversed by Barack Obama. We used to have a policy in this country that no federal funding grants could go to organizations that performed abortions abroad. That was the very first thing that Barack Obama reversed. Even though George W. Bush was not a great president, to act as though they're the same, they're not.
No.
They're not. They're not. Barack Obama, his priority was evil. The second demand, that American businesses be granted more access to mineral deposits. This is what really has the left up in arms. Here's why we are demanding that. Zambian mining is currently dominated by what? Chinese investment. Ill-gotten Chinese investment. And while you're
Good
talking
guys.
about human rights, they don't really care a whole lot about it. They honestly couldn't give less of a shit.
Why aren't they helping with AIDS?
Good question. They just want the copper.
No. You die.
Yeah, no. We're
You
not
die,
here for
we
AIDS.
take copper and emerald.
That's right. We're here for copper and birthstone. I don't even know what else to use emerald for. I know diamond has utilities and gold. So here's an unconfirmed memo, to be clear. The New York Times posted this. Sharp public cuts to American foreign assistance would significantly demonstrate to aid-receiving countries the seriousness of our interest in collaboration and our insistence on tangible benefits under our America First foreign policy. What that really means is, hey, as it kind of stands, as we fund Zambia's healthcare, assuming that it gets to the people, they sell us out to China. That needs to end. I'm okay with cutting all of it because it's not our job. I'm sorry. You may think that that's not compassionate. You guys got a 23-year trial session. Hit the bricks. Or if you want the money, we're going to make sure that you don't simply use it to enable a communist adversary. How about that? Now, let me ask you this. Do you believe that any of these countries would be better off aligning with China? And even more, do you believe that these countries are better off through us simply providing them funding? Maybe it's time for them to sink or swim by themselves. That's my view. Do you think you should be paying for it?
No, it seems like we're just paying the medical bills for China's slaves.
That's a good way to put it.
That's how it feels. It feels like we're, here's your food, here's your housing, here's your AIDS medication. Now get out there and make the Chinese rich, you bunch of nothings.
Right. That's exactly. They have.
That's what it feels like.
Their surveyors are like, new shipment of a PrEP pill. Good news, everybody, more slave.
Oh, stay alive forever.
Hey, do you like what you saw? I don't know how because it's on YouTube and we have to cut all the good parts out. So you should tune in live weekdays at 11 a.m. Eastern on Rumble. We can still speak freely and even use words like and get and whoa. You've been here this whole time?
Yeah. Snuck in.